Things we wish Jesus hadn't said. My name is David Madison, 31 August 2019, and this is episode 19 in a series of flash podcasts on that topic. Mark Twain said that the best cure for Christianity is reading the Bible. So let's take a close look and see why Mark Twain was absolutely correct. Sometimes charming Bible stories aren't all that they seem. In the second chapter of Mark, verses 1 through 12, we find the story of a paralyzed man being lowered through a roof to meet Jesus. Is there a Bible storybook for kids that doesn't include this famous scene? But here are a few key verses that should draw our attention. The four friends had brought the paralyzed man to meet Jesus. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralytic, "Son, your sins are forgiven." Now some of the scribes were sitting there, questioning in their hearts, "Why does this fellow talk like this? It is blasphemy. Who can forgive sins but God alone?" Jesus said to them, "Why do you raise such questions in your hearts? Which is easier, to say to the paralytic, 'Your sins are forgiven,' or to say, 'Stand up and take your mat and walk'? But so that you may know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins," he said to the paralytic, "I say to you, stand up, take your mat, and go to your home." There are a few quick points that I want to make about this. First, it's really bad to suggest that there's a link between sickness and sin. Sickness is punishment for sin. Forgive the sin and presto, you're healed. How much anguish has been caused by this text? A child or parent has been stricken, so it must be because someone sinned and angered God. Now, true, people get sick because they smoked. But how many of us now, today, would say God is punishing the smoker with lung cancer? Priests and ministers should never teach or advocate this. Second point, don't forget, we always have to wonder if these are authentic words of Jesus, or do we have script invented by the gospel writer? Did Jesus, a Galilean peasant preacher, really think that he was the Son of Man, a hero who spoke the will of God and had the authority to forgive sins? This sounds like Mark building up his cult hero for his target market. Third, notice this is a voice-activated healing, the kind of thing found in religious folklore in many other religions. Harry Potter could have done just as well. When Jesus saw their faith, cult writers are always trying to stress faith. When Jesus saw their faith, no, it was common superstition. They brought their friend to Jesus because word got out that he was a magician. Those who imagine that this story proves anything about Jesus, or that this builds the case for faith, well, how do you know it's not just folklore, religious fantasy? How would you possibly verify that the voice-activated healing actually happened? Get real. Fourth and finally, this story reports that there were so many people gathered around the front door that his four friends had to lower him through the roof. Really? Can you imagine the four guys hoisting the guy by ladders to the roof? Nobody in the crowd said, "What the hell are you doing? Come on, we'll make space for you through the front door." And you know what? When Matthew told this story, he copied it from Mark, he omitted the part about lowering the man through the roof. Maybe he thought it was silly too. Luke did, however, include it when he copied it from Mark. But the worst part of this story is the suggestion that sin causes sickness. So we have to add this text to that long list of things we wish Jesus hadn't said.